as far as frequencies go, I think is a really, really interesting one. Because we know for a fact that sound frequencies help or hurt our physiology. We've known this for thousands of years. There's a reason that in churches and in temples that music, singing, dance, smells, almost all of the senses all the time are built into these experiences. In the modern world, we've tried to segment everything, and if there's not published research that says 666 hertz is the best one to tune A's to, then obviously it's all hogwash or whatever. And it's like, okay, so when you actually study music, which I did as an undergrad, and I got really into the science of psychoacoustics and how different frequencies affect us, maybe I'll explain using a strange phenomenon of like subsonic frequencies below 20 hertz. You cannot hear them as a human. Some animals can. Elephants, whales, and even we're understanding some birds can communicate great distances at almost with no delay, because it goes so much more quickly through the ground or water, using infrasound to communicate, to use language. We just don't hear it and we don't get it, but we are affected by it big time. So much so that there are stories of infrasound. These low frequency sound waves can be generated by high winds funneling through the mountains sometimes, or funneling through cities, funneling through artificial or even natural places. And so it can make this kind of deep hum that you feel but you don't hear. And so there have been a lot of stories of hikers in particular places where the mountains are kind of set up in certain ways and the wind comes through at certain times, where in the middle of the night, even though it's like negative 20 degrees, people will take off all their clothes, run outside of their tents, just like howling with madness, and then die from exposure. And they believe it's to get away from these deeply unsettling frequencies that are only arising because the wind is coming through in that particular way at that time. And that shows up in nature with communication, with hurting us through these various bizarre things, and a lot of strange phenomena, including ghosts in some circumstances, including like seeing orbs. And I believe in a lot of woo stuff, but some of this can be explained by the way that your eye vibrates according to certain frequencies. So if there is that strange house and the strange, it's like these creaky, kind of wheezing old houses with a woo upstairs, always seem to be the ones with the ghosts. Not always, but I do think that's a really interesting phenomenon, that our psychology is affected by the physiology that's affected by the frequencies that we can't perceive with our ears. But there's a lot more to hearing than just our ears. The cliche of the opera singer shattering the wine glass, that's real. Like, that happens. You can use sound to blow things up or to make things come together. If you look at, there are some experiments where they're called cymatics, where you put fine grains of sand over a vibrating board and test different frequencies, and spontaneously these different shapes, organized shapes, will appear throughout the different frequency spectrums or spectra, and the way that it shifts according to frequency is so bizarre. It'll make different types of snowflakes depending on which frequency you use, or it'll break those snowflakes up and then it'll reform into something else as you turn the frequencies. And of course, sound is multivariate. We're getting everything all at once. It's not like one sine wave. And so even if we know that one sine wave, one pure sound, does one thing, it doesn't teach us that much about the giant system that we all live in. And so it's important to recognize that if you're in a good groove and you're honest with yourself and you're feeling like you're in the flow, you want to dance, and you're listening to lyrics that make your psychology feel good, because there are some that are pretty dark. You have to pay attention. But if you're grooving, then it works. If it sounds good, it works. And if it feels good, it works. And so I think it's more important to get caught up in that piece of it than necessarily saying that this frequency is the answer and this one is bad. Because as true as that is, and it is true, It's through experimentation and using a variety of different frequencies that stack on each other that we really get great music and great experiences.